Your life will never rise above the level of your thinking. You can change your clothes, your job, your relationships, your address. But if you don't change your mind, you're still going to repeat the same cycle in a new place. The battlefield is not out there. It's in here. The mind is the governor of your destiny. If you want to overcome anything, you must first educate the most powerful weapon you've got, your mind. Your mind is the master key of life. Your mind is the master key of life. Everything that exists in your world right now, your habits, your results, your emotions, your relationships, was first shaped by the thoughts you allowed to take root. The mind is not just a container, it's a creator. It doesn't just record memories, it manufactures meaning. That's why two people can go through the same experience and one becomes bitter while the other becomes better. The difference isn't the experience, it's the education of the mind. Look at your life right now. Look at where you feel stuck, defeated, afraid, or unfulfilled. The truth is, it's not the situation keeping you stuck. It's the way your mind is interpreting the situation. Life is not lived through events. Life is lived through thoughts. You don't see with your eyes. You see through the lens of your mind. Your eyes just receive light, but it's your mind that interprets what you're looking at. That means the real prison is not your job, not your family, not your history. It's the mental ceiling you've accepted as reality. Think of the thermostat in a room. No matter how hot or cold it gets outside, the thermostat controls the temperature inside. That's your mind. If you set it low, you'll freeze in the middle of opportunity. If you set it high, you'll burn through excuses and distractions. Your mind sets the climate of your life. That's why some people can rise from poverty to purpose, while others stay rich in material, but poor in mentality. Because the mind is the master key. It unlocks the doors that your background tried to keep shut. Let me make it personal. There are people with less talent, fewer resources, and smaller platforms than you. Yet they're doing more, impacting more, and becoming more. Why? Because they educated their minds to believe they could. They didn't wait for a diploma, a round of applause, or a perfect moment. They trained their thoughts to serve their purpose. They understood something most people don't. If you don't educate your mind, life will manipulate it. Think of how easily your mind can be shaped. Social media tells you who's successful. News outlets tell you who to fear. Society tells you what's normal. Friends tell you what's possible. And if your mind is not educated, if it's not disciplined, renewed, and focused, then you'll live out a script someone else wrote for your life. That's how you end up 40 years old wondering why you're not fulfilled. It's because the master key, your mind, was never developed to unlock what's inside you. Let's go deeper. Imagine someone handing you $1 million car, sleek, fast, powerful, but you don't know how to drive it. That car, no matter how expensive, becomes a death trap. That's how the untrained mind works. You've got potential, gifts, ideas, strength, but without educating your mind, you crash every time you try to go fast. Life doesn't respond to your potential, it responds to your preparation. The educated mind is prepared to handle elevation. The uneducated mind turns blessings into burdens. Have you ever noticed how some people get opportunities and destroy them? They get into a good relationship and self-sabotage. They get a business loan and mismanage it. They receive a second chance and repeat the same behavior. It's not because they were unlucky. It's because their mind wasn't ready. You don't rise to the level of your intentions. You rise to the level of your mental education. And mental education doesn't mean academic degrees. There are janitors with more mental wisdom than some executives. Because true mind education is not about how much information you store, but how well you understand your purpose, your patterns, and your power. It's when you learn how to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. It's when you challenge your own thinking and stop repeating broken belief systems just because that's what you saw growing up. Your mind is your headquarters. Every enemy you face, every fear you wrestle with, every failure you experience, all of it is first processed in the mind. If you train your mind to see everything as a teacher, nothing can defeat you. But if your mind is untrained, even a small problem becomes a mountain. You'll give up on your dream not because it was impossible, but because your mind magnified the difficulty and minimized your ability. Look around. How many people live in cycles they hate, not because they lack desire, but because they lack mental discipline? They want better, but their mind is stuck on yesterday. They desire growth, but their thoughts are locked in fear. That's why you must rewire your thoughts to reflect where you're going, not where you've been. You must unlearn survival and relearn strategy. You must break up with the voice in your head that tells you to shrink when you're called to rise. Every day you wake up, your mind starts talking. It tells you what you can't do. It brings up yesterday's failures. It rehearses your insecurities. But when you educate your mind, you interrupt that program. You say, no, today I lead. Today I think forward. Today I overcome. Because you understand that life doesn't happen by accident. It happens by alignment. When your mind is aligned with growth, pain becomes purpose. Rejection becomes redirection. Delays become development. And nothing you face can hold you down, because the master key is working in your favor. Starve your excuses, feed your intelligence. Excuses are one of the most subtle and seductive enemies of progress. They wear the mask of logic, but underneath they are rooted in fear, laziness, and comfort. When you give an excuse, what you're really saying is, I'm more committed to staying the same than I am to becoming who I'm called to be. That's why you have to starve your excuses. Don't feed them. Don't entertain them. Don't nurture them with sympathy, because every time you feed an excuse, you're robbing your mind of the power to grow. Excuses are lies you tell yourself to feel better about doing less. Think about that. Your mind will come up with a perfect story for why you can't start the business, why you can't change careers, why you can't heal, why you can't forgive, why you can't try again. And if you keep listening to that story, you'll keep living in that limitation. It's not your background that's limiting you. It's the belief that your background defines your future. It's not the rejection that's holding you back. It's the excuse you've made to stay small because of it. There's a woman working 2 jobs, raising 3 kids by herself, studying at night to finish a degree. She doesn't have time for excuses. She's feeding her intelligence. There's a young man who grew up in foster care, never knew his parents, but reads every book he can find and listens to leaders online instead of partying. He's feeding his intelligence. You don't need a perfect life to grow. You need a mind that refuses to be stagnant. Excuses keep you emotionally comfortable but mentally empty. They keep you from confrontation, yes, but they also keep you from transformation. Every excuse sounds justified to the person who wants to stay safe. I don't have time. I'm not ready. I've tried before. It's not the right season. All of these are just mental scripts that give you permission to stay in the same spot. But staying in the same spot is not safety. It's slow death. When you stop growing, you start decaying. And here's the truth. There will never be a perfect time. You will never feel fully ready. That voice in your head that says, wait until everything aligns. That's not wisdom. That's procrastination in disguise. You must make a decision to stop feeding your limitations and start feeding your potential. That means turning off the noise and tuning into your growth. Instead of scrolling for hours on content that entertains, pick up content that educates. Replace reality shows with reading. Replace gossip with guidance. Replace aimless talk with intentional thought. Your mind becomes what you feed it. Garbage in, confusion out. Wisdom in, breakthrough out. You cannot rise in life if your input is designed to keep you average. Some people are waiting for motivation before they move. But motivation comes after movement. If you start feeding your intelligence, motivation will chase you. That's why people who start the gym see results later. Not because they felt like it in the beginning, but because they starved the excuse and moved anyway. You must move even when you feel doubt. Move even when you feel unqualified. Move even when others don't believe in you. Intelligence is built in motion, not in the fantasy of perfection. Let's get real. You know how to make excuses look professional. You know how to dress them up with logic and make them sound convincing. But deep down, you also know they're costing you. Every excuse has a hidden price. The cost of that excuse is the book you never wrote. The cost is the relationship you never healed. The cost is the business you never launched. The cost is the peace you never felt because you stayed in toxic cycles. Excuses don't just delay progress. They destroy dreams silently. Feeding your intelligence means you start asking better questions. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, I'm too tired, say, how can I manage my energy better? Instead of saying, I don't know how, say, where can I learn? Intelligence grows where curiosity lives. And curiosity cannot breathe in an environment full of excuses. The more excuses you allow, the more you shrink your mind's capacity to discover answers. You have to treat your growth like a priority. If your phone battery was on 2%, you'd look for a charger immediately. But when your mind is running on empty, drained from negativity, stuck in old patterns, paralyzed by fear, you often keep going like that's normal. It's not normal. It's mental starvation. You're tired not because you're doing too much, but because your thoughts are pulling you in too many directions without direction. You need nourishment. That nourishment doesn't come from blame. It comes from responsibility. Responsibility is power. When you say, I refuse to give another excuse, you take back your power. You shift from victim to victor. You stop waiting for the world to change, and you start changing the world around you by changing your mindset. One decision to feed your intelligence can shift your future forever. It starts with what you read, what you listen to, who you allow to speak into your life, what you say to yourself in private when no one is watching. Intelligence is not genetic. It's developed by consistent, intentional choices to rise above your excuses. People may doubt your vision. Life may throw delays. Fear may whisper daily. But your mind, when trained and educated, becomes the one force that says, we're not quitting. And once your mind is aligned with truth, strategy, and growth, excuses don't stand a chance. You said pain is a professor. Learn from it, expend THKOP and make it lengthy in 800 wordings. That people will inspire from these words from daily life example. Don't add any ending sentence. ChatGPT said pain is not your enemy. Pain is your professor. And like any professor, it doesn't show up to punch, it shows up to teach you. But most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, numb pain, or run from pain, not realizing that every painful moment has a lesson carrying the blueprint for your next breakthrough. You were never meant to be destroyed by pain. You were meant to be developed by it. It's not there to bury you. It's there to build you. But if you don't educate your mind to interpret pain properly, you'll curse what was sent to coach you. There are people walking around angry at life, bitter toward people, and frustrated with themselves because they never understood the assignment of pain. Pain doesn't visit your life without purpose. It's never random. It's never accidental. Every time life hits you hard, something is trying to wake up inside of you. A strength you didn't know you had, a mindset you didn't know you needed, a level of clarity you wouldn't have pursued if comfort had stayed in control. Pain doesn't destroy destiny. Misinterpreted pain does. Think about it like the gym. You don't build muscle by lifting feathers. You build muscle through resistance. When the weight feels heavy, that's when the growth starts. But the pain in your muscles isn't a sign to quit. It's a signal that you're activating power. That's how life works. Emotional resistance builds spiritual muscle. Setbacks develop strategy. Rejection strengthens redirection. And heartbreak, yes, even heartbreak, reveals what your heart truly needs to heal and rise. But only if your mind is educated enough to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this shaping in me? There was a man who lost his job. For weeks, he sat on the couch replaying the moment over and over, blaming the company, blaming the economy, blaming life. But one day he looked at his child and realized that he couldn't stay in that space. He began writing down every lesson he learned from that job, every skill, every failure, every moment he wished he had handled differently. He started applying those lessons to create something of his own. That pain was the classroom. That loss was the instructor. And the moment he took notes, instead of throwing a tantrum, his mind graduated to a new level. Most people don't grow because they keep flunking life's classes. They go through pain but never pause to extract the principle. They repeat relationships but never review their own patterns. They experience loss but never locate the learning. And as a result, the same tests come back in new forms with new people, but with the same core lessons left untaught. Until you pass the test, you repeat the pain. Not because life is cruel, but because unlearned pain keeps revisiting you in different disguises. There's a reason diamonds are formed under pressure. There's a reason gold is refined in fire. The most valuable things in life aren't created in comfort. They're forged through fire, and you are no different. That betrayal you went through, it taught you discernment. That failure that embarrassed you, it taught you humility. That delay that frustrated you, it taught you patience and preparation. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. But if you label pain as punishment, you'll miss the power of the process. A woman once said, I prayed for strength and life gave me storms. I asked for wisdom, and life gave me mistakes. I asked for courage, and life gave me fear to overcome. That's how pain teaches. It doesn't hand you answers. It hands you experiences. And those experiences, when your mind is trained, become elevation. Pain teaches you what textbooks can't. It gives you insight no university offers. It gives you a degree in resilience that no classroom can simulate. Some of you are still angry about the pain of your childhood. But what if that pain was meant to give you a voice for others going through what you survived? Some of you are upset about a relationship that broke you. But what if that pain was meant to open your eyes to the love you were settling for? You see, the most painful chapters often contain the most prophetic instruction, but only if your mind is willing to sit down and listen to what the pain is saying. You don't have to love pain. You don't have to enjoy it, but you do have to respect it, because pain only speaks to people who listen. And when you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intellectually, that's when pain becomes a professor. It's not screaming at you to suffer, it's speaking to you to shift. Pain says, pay attention. Pain says something needs to change. Pain says there's more to you than what you've been settling for. Pain never shows up without an agenda to evolve you. In daily life, pain might show up in the form of disappointment. Maybe you didn't get the job. Maybe the friend betrayed you. Maybe the door closed that you were sure would open. That sting you feel. That's the knock on your mental door that says, there's more to be learned here. Don't miss the message by drowning in the moment. If you cry, let it be healing, not helplessness. If you pause, let it be reflection, not retreat. Because once you decode the message inside the pain, you graduate into power. Your pain will either become your prison or your passport. It can either lock you in regret or launch you into revelation. The difference is how you train your mind to see it. You're not weak for feeling pain. You're human. But you're powerful when you allow pain to mentor you rather than manage you. And every time life presses you, pushes you, or breaks you, remember, the greatest breakthroughs are born from the places where it hurt the most. Pain always comes with a purpose, but it's your responsibility to let your mind uncover the lesson. Pain is a professor. Learn from it. Protect your mental environment. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow, whether it's seeds of strength or weeds of stress. That's why you have to protect your mental environment like your life depends on it, because it does. Everything you allow into your mind either builds your future or breaks your focus. If you're not intentional about what influences you, you'll find yourself drifting in the direction of noise, confusion, and fear. You have to become a gatekeeper of your mind, not a garbage collector of the world's chaos. People don't just lose battles in life. They lose the battle in their mind first. A polluted mind leads to a powerless life. And most people don't even realize how much damage is done simply by what they expose their minds to. If you're constantly feeding on negative conversations, toxic entertainment, and drama-filled content, you're not just wasting time, you're weakening your mindset. It's like trying to grow a garden while someone's dumping poison in the soil every morning. Eventually, nothing healthy survives. You have to become militant about your mental environment. Guard your thoughts like treasure. Guard your peace like a fortress. Guard your time like your life's mission depends on it. Because it does. Some people don't deserve access to your mental space. Not because they're bad people, but because their presence carries confusion, their words sow doubt, and their energy drains purpose. You can love people and still limit access. You can care about others and still protect your clarity. There's no reward for allowing chaos to live rent-free in your head. Look at your phone. Is it feeding your purpose or distracting your progress? Look at your conversations. Are they sharpening your mind or numbing your spirit? Look at your routine. Are you surrounding yourself with peace or polluting yourself with pressure? The music you listen to, the shows you binge, the voices you entertain. All of it is planting something in you. The only question is, are you aware of what's growing? There's a reason successful people protect their space. They understand that noise is the enemy of direction. If you want to go somewhere meaningful in life, you can't let just anything or anyone into your mental atmosphere. You have to filter your intake. Every day, life is trying to feed your mind, some of it junk, some of it gold. And the level of your success will always match the level of your discernment. You can't think like a champion if your mental diet is full of distractions. Sometimes, Protecting your mental environment means making difficult decisions. It might mean walking away from people who constantly gossip, argue, or speak fear into your vision. It might mean turning off the TV and turning on a podcast that grows your mind. It might mean waking up earlier to journal, read, or reflect instead of rushing into chaos. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every small choice either pollutes or purifies your mental space. Let's talk about the power of silence. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. Most people avoid silence because they're afraid of what their thoughts might say. But if you don't slow down and sit with your thoughts, you'll never upgrade your beliefs. You'll never hear the internal whisper that says, "You were made for more." Some of the greatest breakthroughs don't happen in noise. They happen in stillness. That's why protecting your mind isn't just about avoiding the wrong things. It's about making room for the right things to rise. Every day, you wake up with a limited amount of energy. That energy is like currency. And where you spend it determines the quality of your mind. If you spend it arguing with people who don't understand your vision, chasing opinions, comparing your life on social media, or reacting to everything that triggers you, then you're bankrupting your mental strength before the real work even begins. But if you spend it feeding your faith, refining your goals, studying new skills, and creating instead of complaining, then your mind becomes a powerhouse of progress. There's a young woman who used to start every morning scrolling through negativity online. It shaped her mood, it stole her focus, and it dictated her self-worth. One day she decided to delete every toxic app, block every comparison page, and replace her first hour with reading and reflection. In 90 days, her confidence changed, her speech changed, her direction became clear. What shifted? Not the world, her mental environment. She stopped allowing garbage to enter her gates. You can't control everything around you, but you can control what you let inside of you. And when you take responsibility for your mental space, you begin to cultivate clarity, courage, and creativity. You stop waiting for motivation and start building mental discipline. You stop being reactive and start being strategic. You stop looking at obstacles as the end, and you begin seeing them as instruction. The reason some people stay stuck isn't because they lack talent, opportunity, or faith. It's because their minds are too polluted to produce results. You cannot plant vision in contaminated soil. You cannot dream in an atmosphere of doubt. You cannot rise when your mind is dragging the weight of 1,000 distractions. You have to cut the noise, cancel the confusion, clean the mental room. Your future requires a mind that is clear, calm, and committed. If the people around you constantly speak defeat, change the room. If the content you consume creates fear, change the feed. If the thoughts you think create anxiety, challenge the script. Your mental environment is either pushing you toward destiny or pulling you into cycles. And once you realize that, you stop living on autopilot. You start living with intention. And intentional minds always outlast emotional moments. Educated minds don't react. They respond. An educated mind doesn't jump at everything that comes its way. It doesn't panic when the pressure rises. It doesn't lose composure when people throw shade, lies, or criticism. It doesn't get hijacked by emotions every time something doesn't go as planned. An educated mind is trained. It is disciplined. It is intentional. And above all, it is stable. The difference between reacting and responding is the difference between being controlled by life and being in control of your life. Reactions are impulsive. Responses are intelligent. Reactions come from emotion. Responses come from wisdom. If you want to elevate your life, you've got to educate your mind to pause before you explode. There's a reason doctors don't scream in the operating room. There's a reason pilots don't panic in turbulence. Their minds have been trained for pressure. And the same applies to your life. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be prepared. Life will test your patience, your peace, your progress, and your principles. But when your mind is educated, you don't fall for every emotional bait. You stand firm in truth. You don't allow temporary feelings to destroy permanent opportunities. Let's be real. People will provoke you. They will say things to get under your skin. They will try to bring you down to their level because misery loves attention. But here's what the educated mind understands: silence is not weakness, it's power. A calm spirit is not passivity, it's maturity. When you respond with wisdom instead of reacting with wrath, you show strength without shouting. You protect your peace while preserving your purpose. You win battles without waging war. Think of your mind like a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer reacts to the environment. If things are hot, it gets hot. If things are cold, it drops. But a thermostat sets the temperature. It influences the environment rather than being influenced by it. That's how you must operate in life. When people bring negativity, you don't match it, you master it. When the atmosphere gets tense, you become the standard, not the subject. That's mental education. That's mental leadership. There was a man who worked in a chaotic office. Every day his coworkers gossiped, complained, and criticized. For months he got caught in it. He argued back. He tried to defend himself. He lost sleep thinking about what they said. But one day, something shifted. He decided to educate his mind. He stopped feeding on their words and started feeding on wisdom. He began each day with reflection and reading. He trained his mind to respond, not react. In just weeks, his peace became so unshakable that the same coworkers who mocked him started asking him for advice. Why? Because peace is louder than noise when it's consistent. Your reactions can ruin relationships, forfeit opportunities, and sabotage blessings that were already yours. Sometimes it's not the attack that destroys you, it's your reaction to it. That's why the real battlefield is not around you, it's within you. An educated mind knows how to step back and ask, is this worth my energy? Is this aligned with my purpose? Is this a distraction or a direction? You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to attend every argument. You don't have to defend yourself against every critic. Some things don't deserve your reaction. They deserve your silence. Daily life is full of chances to practice this. You get cut off in traffic. Do you lose your cool, scream, curse, and let that energy poison your entire morning? Or do you breathe, acknowledge your safety, and keep moving like the destination still matters? Your child disobeys you. Do you explode out of frustration, or do you pause and coach with clarity? Someone online throws shade at your progress. Do you clap back with venom, or do you stay focused and let your fruits speak louder than their opinions? Education of the mind isn't just about what you know, it's about what you master in moments of pressure. The real test of intelligence isn't your degrees. It's how you deal with disrespect. It's how you manage conflict. It's how you preserve your peace when others are losing theirs. Some of the most intelligent people are emotionally bankrupt because they never trained their minds to pause, reflect, and rise above. When you teach your mind to respond, you rise in power. You become a thermostat in your home, in your job, in your community. You create emotional stability in unstable spaces. You become the person others lean on in crisis. You don't just inspire people with your words, you lead them with your responses. And the more consistent you become, the more influence you carry. People don't remember what you screamed in chaos. They remember how calm you stayed when everything was crashing. You can't stop life from throwing chaos at you, but you can stop yourself from reacting in ways that destroy your character. That's what an educated mind does. It slows down long enough to choose the response that builds, not breaks. That heals, not harms. That lifts, not lowers. Most people regret what they say in anger, but no one regrets staying composed in wisdom. And when you master your response, you master your results. This kind of self-control doesn't come overnight. It comes through daily practice. It comes from catching yourself mid-reaction and saying, not this time. It comes from journaling your triggers and studying your patterns. It comes from choosing prayer over panic, reflection over rage, and vision over vengeance. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally intelligent, because emotions make terrible masters but excellent messengers. They're there to inform you, not to control you. When you educate your mind, you learn to feel deeply but respond wisely. Invest in mental growth like your life depends on it, because it does. Invest in mental growth like your life depends on it, because it does. Every breakthrough you seek, every level of success you dream of, every storm you're trying to outlast, it all depends on the quality of your mindset. Your income, your peace, your influence, your health, your future, they rise and fall according to the condition of your mind. The tragedy is, most people spend more time grooming their outer appearance than they do shaping the foundation of their inner world. They invest in clothes, gadgets, vacations, and entertainment, but neglect the one asset that controls everything: their thinking. You can't afford to live with an untrained mind. It will betray you. It will exaggerate fear. It will magnify doubt. It will keep you rehearsing your pain while rejecting your potential. The mind is not neutral. It's either growing or decaying. That's why you have to treat mental growth like a lifestyle, not a luxury. It's not something you squeeze into your schedule when you're not busy. It's something you build your schedule around. Growth is not accidental. You don't stumble into wisdom. You pursue it. You prioritize it. The greatest investment is not in stocks or real estate. It's in your ability to think clearly, decide wisely, and act boldly. Your mind is your first business. Before you build anything externally, you must first construct a mindset that can handle what you're praying for. Most people want success, but they don't have the thought patterns to sustain it. They sabotage it when it comes. Why? Because they didn't do the inner work to match the outer blessing. Think about it. How many people do you know who had talent, but not the thinking to steward it? They had opportunities, but not the maturity to navigate them. They had relationships, but not the emotional intelligence to sustain them. A weak mind will destroy strong blessings. That's why it's not enough to dream big. You must think sharp. You must sharpen your discernment, discipline your focus, and stretch your intellect. The mind once stretched never returns to its original shape, but the mind left untouched will shrink in every season of pressure. There's a man I once met who used to drive buses in the city. Every morning, he listened to audiobooks, leadership messages, and strategic content while driving his route. Passengers had no idea he was growing his mind while operating that wheel. 5 years later, he wasn't just driving buses. He was managing transportation systems and advising the city council on logistics. Why? Because he made daily decisions to feed his mind even when no one was clapping. He didn't wait for a raise. He raised his mindset. And life responded accordingly. Growth doesn't ask for your convenience, it demands your commitment. You won't always feel like reading. You won't always feel like journaling. You won't always feel like reflecting. But feelings don't grow you, discipline does. If you only grow when you feel like it, you'll stay stuck when life challenges you. But if you train your mind to grow even when it's uncomfortable, you'll be unshakable when pressure hits. Because life doesn't reward the smartest, it rewards the most prepared. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you challenge it, the stronger it becomes. Every new book stretches you. Every difficult conversation matures you. Every new skill shapes you. Every hard decision forges you. But the moment you stop challenging yourself, you stop changing. And when you stop changing, you start dying mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's why mental growth is not just inspirational, it's survival. You can't live a powerful life with a powerless mind. Some people are waiting for life to get easier. But you need to get stronger. Stop saying, I can't do this. Start asking, how can I grow through this? That shift in language activates a shift in your brain. You move from helplessness to ownership. You move from excuse to execution. The questions you ask yourself are building or breaking your future. Ask better questions, get better answers, feed better thoughts, produce better results. People say, knowledge is power. That's half true. Applied knowledge is power. You don't grow just by knowing. You grow by using what you know. Reading one book a month and implementing 10% of it will outwork someone who reads 100 books, but changes nothing. So don't just consume information. Digest it, apply it, and let it rewire how you think. Growth isn't in what you read, it's in how you think differently because of it. Your environment plays a role too. You can't grow your mind in a room full of people who are allergic to progress. You can't sharpen your thinking in a space where mediocrity is celebrated. You need to get around people who challenge your thinking, who stretch your ideas, who question your patterns. Iron sharpens iron. But comfort dulls intelligence. You don't grow by being the smartest in the room. You grow by sitting where your thinking gets disrupted in the right direction. Even your language matters. Speak like someone who's evolving. Stop saying, I've always been this way. That's a lie your past told you. Say, I'm in training. I'm under construction. I'm becoming the best thinker of my life. Because words don't just describe reality. They design it. And when you talk like a learner, you unlock the mindset of a leader. Some of the most successful people on the planet don't just read, they reread. They don't just listen, they study. They don't just speak, they reflect. That's mental growth. That's what separates talkers from transformers. Most people spend their lives repeating the same year 10 times and calling it a decade. But when you invest in your mental growth, every year looks different. Every challenge becomes a classroom. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every win becomes a new standard. So here you are, standing at the edge of your potential, not because you lack talent, not because you lack opportunities, but because you're deciding whether to finally educate your mind to match the greatness within you. Let me tell you something powerful. The world doesn't change when you wish harder. It changes when you think deeper. The mind is the master key. You've been asking life for a breakthrough, but life has been waiting for you to unlock your thinking. You don't rise to the level of your hopes. You rise to the level of your mindset. You will never conquer what you don't confront, and you can't confront it if your mind is clouded by fear, excuses, and distractions. Train your mind, and your fears will shrink. Discipline your thoughts, and your distractions will lose power. There are people with half your talent living the life you dream of, not because they're better, but because they think differently. They made a decision to feed their mind with growth, to protect it from junk, and to lead their life from within. Your greatest battle is not with people, it's with patterns. Not the ones in the world, but the ones in your mind. If you keep thinking like yesterday, you'll keep living like yesterday. You can pray all you want, hustle all you want, grind all you want. But if your thinking is toxic, your destiny will stay buried under your own limitations. The real war is won in silence, when nobody is watching, when you choose discipline over distraction, growth over gossip, progress over comfort. That's when champions are made. You must become addicted to transformation. Every day you wake up, your mind needs direction. If you don't lead it, it will wander. If you don't shape it, it will conform. And if you don't challenge it, it will settle. You weren't created to settle. You weren't made to fit in. You were designed to rise, to lead, to break cycles and become the evidence that mental evolution produces generational revolution. You are the thinker of your thoughts. You are the architect of your mindset. You are the commander of your decisions. So command them with boldness. When they doubt you, educate your mind. When they leave you, elevate your mind. When they attack you, sharpen your mind. Because no one can take what's rooted in your thinking. You may lose money, you may lose people, but if you've got the right mindset, you will always bounce back. Why? Because what's in your mind creates what's in your life. What you believe will either bind you or break you through. Don't just learn, evolve. Don't just talk, transform. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation is like a spark, but mindset is the engine. Sparks fade, but engines move things. Feed your mind every day, not once in a while, not when you feel inspired, every single day. Feed it truth, feed it discipline, feed it clarity, feed it boldness. Life will throw storms, but if your mind is strong, you'll be the storm. Life will throw pressure, but if your mind is prepared, you'll perform under pressure. Champions are not people who had it easy. They're people who made a decision: I will not let my history dictate my mindset. I will not let my pain poison my progress. I will not let my feelings dictate my future. It's time to stop asking, what if it goes wrong? And start declaring, what if it goes right? It's time to stop saying, I've never done this before, and start saying, this is where I grow. It's time to stop blaming the world and start mastering your mind. You are one decision away from a new direction, one shift in thinking away from a new life. Because when you upgrade your mind, you upgrade your world. Success is not reserved for the chosen. It's accessed by the trained. And the most powerful training starts in the quiet corners of your mind. You don't need to be loud to be legendary. You don't need to be seen to be strong. You don't need applause to know you're advancing. Just educate your mind and the results will speak. Let your silence be strategy. Let your focus be your loudest shout. Let your consistency be your confirmation. Let your mindset be your miracle. So ask yourself today, are you thinking like the person you want to become? Are you feeding your mind what your future demands? Or are you letting fear decide for you? Because the truth is simple. If you can train your mind, you can transform your life. If you can shift your thoughts, you can shatter limitations. And if you can commit to the mindset of a champion, you'll walk into rooms you once only dreamed of, not because they let you in, but because you became too powerful to be ignored.